I've introduced, first of all, that is libido, the terminology. So libido means the broadest category, libido, according to Freud, that is energy or psychic energy, preferably it is sexual in nature. So this sexual energy goes on traveling through the body of the individual, that's all. Because the individual or the baby or the infant, if you prefer, the infant always understands first the environment only through his body. So because actually the body or the existence itself is known only through the body. So that is why this body always plays vital role in the annals of psychoanalysis. So for this bodily expression of this libidinal energy, see just a little bit of comparison I would like to make. That is, for Freud, he struggled most of his times to qualify psychoanalysis as a more or less a natural science. He wanted to qualify, to give a qualification that is of natural science to psychoanalysis, for which he just derived or borrowed, better, he borrowed various concepts from physical sciences of his days. The basic principle of physical science, that is energy principle, still it is valid, is better known as law of thermodynamics or laws of thermodynamics, first principle, second principle, something like that they say. That is what exactly this thermodynamics principle defines or emphasizes. According to one author by name von Helmholtz, one of the propagators of thermodynamics, he just emphasized the law of entropy also. That's actually it's a terminology, that's all. Don't scare about the terminologies anyway. That means entropy or the law of thermodynamics, which emphasizes, the first law emphasizes energy, most of you might have come across, energy can neither be created nor destroyed. It is valid, still valid. That is, energy is permanent. Energy is permanent, but at the same time it goes on changing, because change alone does not change. The principle of life it is. There's a goal of life also. Change alone does not change. Everything undergoes change. Nothing is permanent. But at the same time, actually energy means energy can neither be created nor destroyed, but it goes on changing from one state to another. That means transformation of energy. That's all. So like that, this transformation of libido takes place from one state to another, from one stage to another, according to Freud. That is why he says, with the firmest conviction, we can say, with the firmest conviction, that psychoanalysis is a pure science. See, he always wanted to understand the principle of psychoanalysis from this angle of, that is, science of energy or physics, or the thermodynamic concept. So actually, what happens during the stage of evolution of this libidinal energy? That is a stage-by-stage development. That is, this dynamic structure of personality, as I told you before, is entirely dependent on, there's a psychosexual development of the individual's life. Throughout the life, that is very important here, throughout the life, stage by stage, this libido goes on transforming from one state to another. That is, libido means, literally put, desire. Roughly translate. Again, I told you. That's again just, I'm making you to remember again, because these are terminologies, tough at times to understand. So that means that is, the child from the beginning is desirous. It should always be desirous, biologically craving for the survival, sucking first. Sucking is beyond a reflex action. It's a pure reflex. For the survival of the baby, for the survival of the species, any species, especially mammal, this sucking actually is the goal of life. Soon after the birth, the infant starts sucking the breast of the mother. This is a natural impulse. From the day one onwards, the personality development starts for Freud. It starts proceeding. So that is why actually he says that is the body, as I told you before, is always known as having erogenous zones, erogenous. So these erogenous zones means, that is eros means again sexuality, and that is actually this body itself, the human body itself is having with full of sexual energy from the beginning, according to him. That is why libidinous in nature. So the first and foremost stage is nothing but oral stage, he says, in the psychosexual development. So before that, I would like to introduce another component of the libido. Libido is, again, just try to understand, it is a broader category. So under this broader category, two important instincts exist or come. One is this eros, and the other one is what he calls thanatos. So thanatos means nothing but aggression, that's all. Roughly put, sex and aggression. These are the two basic drives, these are the two basic biological instincts, and because of these instincts only, that's a biological survival always could be possible. Okay. The first, just going back to the first stage or preliminary stage, he says oral stage. What is this implication of oral stage? So this oral stage means, simply put, during this stage, that is the oral opening, that means the mouth, that is lips, always around the lips, the libidinal energy is getting itself concentrated, that's all. That means that is a child always derives pleasure or satisfaction through sucking the mother's breast. So there is a pleasurable activity for the child. So for the survival, exactly, for the mere survival, biological creature, because it is, for its survival naturally, the natural impulse is always to get herself attached to the mother's breast. Okay. So by means of getting herself satisfied, that means she always starts deriving satisfaction. Through the satisfaction, since it is always a pleasurable sensation, naturally she derives always pleasure. That is why pleasure principle predominates, he says. So pleasure principle means, that is the goal of this pleasure principle always is how to get the instinctual satisfaction, that's all. How to get the biological satisfaction. That is, this particular principle called by him as pleasure principle always knows no boundaries. Its only motto, its only goal, only aim is how to get itself satisfied, because for the survival, that is biological, purely biological. And later on, he went on with his own version of trying to understand the personality development by introducing one more important terminology in psychoanalysis, that is id, 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 he says. Id means, it's a Latin word, that's all. Id means, id, id, means it, that's all. So it means, that's biological instinct, that's all again. So this biological instinct always predominates, tries to predominate for the survival of the species. So during this stage, roughly put, this oral stage extends approximately again, approximately, if this is added, approximately up to 2 years of age, roughly put. And up to 2 years, the child goes on deriving satisfaction through sucking. Well, and that is why these lips always predominate. The predominance of the lips or the pleasure cannot be possible forever. Why so? Because actually, that is, the child has to evolve into the developed adult later on. So that is why another important socialization aspect enters into this scene or scenario. So that is what we call weaning. That means we have to just wean away the child. That is gradually, that is the milk-fed child or the milk-fed infant has to be fed with solid food, gradually. This is unavoidable, inevitable, that means socialization. This is what we call, that's a process of socialization. Society enters. Society actually is trying to act as a filter. So that is why what happens during this stage is this pleasure principle cannot be possible forever. Naturally, this socialization enters into this scene, and hence, through or by way of socialization, that is, now the child is being brought up according to the society in which the child has to be brought up. So naturally, then comes another important significant feature. So there is a development of the child according to the society or according to the societal norms, that is the reality principle, what he calls. So the reality principle is nothing but according to the norms prevailing in the society, according to the societal aspects or social component or socialization, what he introduces the term or uses the term socialization, according to society or social norms, the child has to be gradually weaned away. So that is why now the child actually encounters tension or conflict. So from the first stage onwards, the conflict starts. Now, so that is, it has to be gradually accommodated according to reality, according to culture, according to society. Now, one more agency comes, according to Freud. So that is, from the id will gradually arise what he calls ego. That is, a psychosexual development proceeds by way of containing or organizing or governing or executing the id impulses always by another important agency called by Freud ego. So well, then that is actually considered the child has crossed the first stage smoothly. Now he is ready to enter into the next stage of development. So in the second stage of development of personality of the psychosexual development, what he calls again, he says anal stage. So anal stage, why he prefers or tries to, give the meaning for anal stage means, so during this anal stage, the second opening is nothing but the anus in the child. This anus or around the anus, we can say probably, around the anus, the id impulses or the libido, both are interchangeable uses always, the libido or id actually is getting itself concentrated, we can say. So that is why during this stage, roughly speaking, it extends up to 3 years, roughly again, because cultural differences are immense. We cannot rule out that possibility also, always. So during this stage, what happens is, the child starts deriving pleasure or satisfaction by means of defecating and urinating. So defecation as well as urination, these two important aspects play vital role or vital roles probably in shaping the personality development in the individual in future also. So that is why, remember, as I told you before at the beginning itself, that is, childhood always lingers in us. It goes on influencing our day-to-day activities, our present-day activities including. So that is why childhood training, socialization, everything is very, very important in shaping one's personality for Freud. Well, that is anal stage. So during this anal stage, what happens is, that means that is we are introducing from our society the important component, that is what we call toilet training. So through toilet training, you are making or trying to make the child to understand how to control the muscles, bladder control as well as bowel control. That is, actually you are making the child, or you are teaching the child, or you are trying to teach the child to understand independence. That is why then later came, that is various neo-Freudians including Erikson, etc., etc. Also you would have come across. So that means society, that is, a society is molding the personality, remember. Molding the personality means here molding the biological impulses. That is why psychosexual development for Freud again. That is anal stage. Supposing this anal stage is inappropriately or inadequately resolved or inadequately negotiated, the conflicts are not at all met with properly, means naturally the child in future, suppose he grows up into an adult, means definitely he will be said to be suffering from various complexes for Freud. So to just understand these complexes, he introduces two terminologies, fixation and regression. That is why, as I told you before, that is to understand Freud, it takes hours and hours, not hours only, that is months together, indeed. That means he introduced two terms, as I told you, that is, one is regression and the another one is fixation. So regression means, that's a logically put, the biological drive or the libidinal energy should always keep on moving or flowing forward. That is progression. It has to progress, that's all. That's the goal of life. Supposing, let us assume, it is blocked. That is, the energy is abstracted means, this energy, abstracted energy, will be reversed, will be regressed. That is why instead of progression, it goes on regressing backward. So regression means it regresses backward, that's all. Instead of forward movement, it actually starts moving backward. Even though he is said to be an adult, he may be having childhood fixations for Freud. So during this stage, we are now discussing, that is anal stage, two fixations he talks about. I'm just putting everything in a nutshell, that's all. One is anal aggression and the other one is anal retention, he says. What is this anal aggression? That is fixation, exactly. Supposing this child, at this time, during this stage, definitely, in one way or other, always is fond of his or her fecal matter. That is why the child of this stage, the second stage of development, that is up to 3 years roughly, starts playing with the fecal matter. That means he is highly fond, he is highly proud. He just derives not only satisfaction, he derives pride also in it. That is his dearest possession is his stool or the fecal matter. So exactly, you are just entering into this scenario as an adult, as a caretaker, as a father, mother, or a parent. And you are just trying to make the child to aware of the filthiness of the matter. Understand? That means you are teaching the moral aspect, so to say, the social aspect from your angle. That means the biological impulse is being governed by the adult. So by way of this particular aspect of socialization, supposing the child refuses to accept your modalities, that means the child actually starts rebelling against authority. There's a rebellion starts, so to say. That means this rebellion could be of two types for Freud. Aggression, that is anal aggression, means he continues purges, diarrhea for instance. So this diarrhea, that means colitis also, it can produce in future. That's inflammation in the colon. That's a large intestine. So supposing the child at this stage or during this anal stage actually rebels or tries to rebel against the authority, she refuses to defecate according to your plan, according to your stipulations, according to your commands. Instead, she goes on having her own schedule. That's all. Her own pattern of schedule for defecation or urination including. So that is why, that is anal aggression, he says. There's anal aggression means it's a symbolic protest, remember. It's a symbolic protest. Supposing this particular individual grows up into an adult means, naturally, this individual definitely in one way or other will show the symptom which resembles the same pattern of rebellion of this stage. That is, let us assume the individual shows the symptom of diarrhea without any organic reason. Biologically good, he is, that is organically, that means biologically good, physiologically good, everything is perfect. But still, he continues diarrhea. Or he continues to just manifest the symptom of colitis or the inflammation in the colon of the individual. There is a symptom or the symptomatology, what we say. That is the etiology. It's a medical terminology they use. But this reason behind this symptom is definitely must be residing in the fixation to the previous stage in the individual, in the adult. That is anal fixation. There is anal aggression specifically. What about another modus operandi? According to Freud, that is anal retention. Again, it is again one more manifestation of the rebellion of the child. So that is, supposing the child refuses to defecate. Remember, that is again appalling, it is dangerous. She refuses to simply defecate in your presence because you are an authority. So that means now simply she refuses to defecate in your presence, but at the same time she is having, or she may be having, her own schedules for defecation or urination including. So in such a way, supposing the same child grows up into an adult means definitely the child, that is the child in the adult, so to say, definitely may be manifesting the same symptom manifested once in his life, in the past. That means that is constipation, continuous constipation. This continuous constipation is one of the symptoms. That is, supposing you just rule out the possibility of any organic reasons, causative factors for organic symptoms, yes, everything has been ruled out. Purely means still the individual shows the same symptom again and again means definitely the individual is said to be suffering from the fixation of the anal stage according to Freud. That is anal retention specifically. So that is the logic of this particular regression or fixation is nothing but in any stage or stages the individual may be having fixation or fixations. Although the individual grows up into an adult, the individual may be having fixations or regressions towards any other previous stages in his life. Okay. So that is with reference to the anal stage. Then comes the third stage. So this third stage is the most important stage of development for psychosexual aspect of personality according to Freud. That is what he calls phallic stage. So during this third stage of psychosexual development in the individual, he just coins the term phallic stage. As I told you before, the implication of phallic stage is so vital, very, very crucial and very important in shaping the personality of the individual in future, especially the heterosexual development of the individual's personality. So what exactly this phallic stage means? Roughly, it extends up to 6 years, that is between 3 and 6 years. That is, during this stage, the id impulse or the libido again is getting itself concentrated around the phallus. Phallus is the genital organ. The genital organ plays vital role during this stage of development of psychosexuality in the individual, according to Freud. Say, for instance, that is two different aspects come in for Freud. That is, during this stage of development or phallic stage, that is the substage, he says, that is masturbatory phase, PHASC. There's a masturbatory phase is the substage. So during this masturbatory phase, it's a natural universal phenomenon. Definitely you would have noticed it in the children. The child starts manipulating the genital organ, that is masturbation. Since the pleasure always predominates around the genital organ, the pleasure principle, again the rule of life is the pleasure principle predominates, has to predominate naturally, but on par with the society, on par with the social norms, the pleasure principle has to be bridled, has to be shaped, has to be contained, has to be governed. So in the previous stage itself, that is the pleasure principle has been contained to some extent, has to be governed, means should have been contained, should have been properly executed by another agency. Again, I introduced the term also, that is ego. So from the id impulses always should arise ego for Freud. This is a major important discovery of Freud, we can say. From the biological component, roughly or crudely put, from the biological component only should be built the edifice or the citadel or the tower of personality, social personality especially. So in that aspect, the ego exactly operates according to the principles of the society. That is why his popular saying was, wherever the id was, there shall always be the ego. It's a well put version. Try to understand the logic. Again, just I repeat it. Wherever the id was, there shall always be the ego. That means wherever the id was before, will follow automatically the ego. That is, the ego always tries to steer the personality according to the norms prevailing in the society. That is a reality principle. That's why he introduced that term. Pleasure principle has to be combined with the reality principle. Very important thing. That is again major discovery. One of the major discoveries of Freud, you can say surely. Well, now regarding this stage, there's a third stage I'm talking about. That's a phallic stage. Phallic, P-H-A-L-L-I-C. So during this phallic stage, since the child derives pleasure or satisfaction by means of manipulating the genitalia or the genital, by way of manipulating the genital, that is masturbating the genitals, both boy and the girl start identifying the gender differences. That means we cannot say that this manipulation of genital or masturbation is meant for deriving satisfaction or pleasure only, but it is having its own social component. That means the boy and the girl, now decisively you are capable of understanding the sex differences, or from the society or from the sociological angle, gender differences. Well, one more thing comes in for Freud. There is a universal happening it is, or the universal tragedy also we can say, because it is the irony of life. Indeed, the life itself is tough, and the development of personality itself is always conflict ridden. Naturally, during this stage, that is phallic stage, that is the boy is having natural attraction, that too sexual in nature, towards his mother, and the girl towards his father. That is actually, it is literally put, Oedipus and Electra complexes by Freud. Just, I would like to just elaborate it. That is, Oedipus complex means it is universally acclaimed. It has been proved by various anthropological researchers also, from various field studies, by sociologists as well. That means the natural attraction shown towards his mother, that is incestual wish it is. Since the mother is a source of comfort, pleasure, satisfaction, belongingness, etc., etc., since she is the center of everything, so what happens naturally is, it's a natural component, remember. That is why I go on using the word naturally again and again. It's a natural attraction, and this attraction is always centered around the mother, because the mother gives him, the boy, the pleasure. He doesn't want to lose the affection of the mother. Not only that, he wants to possess physically also. That means another villain comes in. The villain is none other than his own father, the rival. Since the father enjoys power in the family, so automatically he always is having control over the mother. Little boy doesn't want his father to control her mother. Instead, he wants to possess her mother, literally put again. Don't think everything is happening realistically. Pure imagination it is. Imagination which is taking place symbolically in the mind of the child. So that is the significance, what he calls Oedipus complex. That means, literally put, the boy falls in love with his own mother. Well, why he prefers the term Oedipus complex, for which he just gives various parallels from mythologies, especially Greek mythologies. One particular mythology written by a Greek dramatist and philosopher also, he was Sophocles, that is called Oedipus myth, or King Oedipus, or Oedipus Rex. So King Oedipus, he was an emperor. In spite of the oracle means the foretelling. The oracle, that means foretelling of the future. In spite the oracle of Delphi was the place. It so happened that tragedy took place. He murdered his own father in a duel, in a warfare, and the tragedy happened again. Unknowingly, he married to his own mother, Jocasta. Soon after realizing this blunder and total tragedy, he committed suicide by piercing his own eyes with arrows after wandering a while in the forest. And similarly, his mother, also Jocasta, committed suicide later on. That was a tragedy. So this same tragedy takes place in the family, he says. It's obnoxious. At times it is difficult to digest. But it's a natural reaction on the part of the child, according to Freud. It is universal too, remember. Literally again, I say, since the boy wants to possess the mother and imagines, that is symbolically again, to kill his father, as it did happen in Greek tragedy, the Greek tragedy of Oedipus. Since he cannot overpower the father because the father is all powerful, so another complication takes place. The boy is afraid of the father. Since the boy always imagines to kill the father, even though it is an imagination, this particular tendency of trying to kill or overpower the father creates the sense of guilt feeling in the child. Not only this guilt feeling, but a fear also. This fear he calls, Freud terms it, castration anxiety. What exactly this castration anxiety means? So Freud tries to give the picture of castration anxiety in this angle. That means, since the boy always tries to possess the mother and tries to just sideline the father, killing means not literally killing, he just wants to sideline the father, but at the same time, this particular tendency produces conflict in the child, thereby it creates a sense of not only conflict plus guilt feeling. Okay. So this guilt feeling, what he calls superego, that's all. That is, by way of creating this particular natural tendency or natural attraction, gradually the child automatically, it's an automatic process, healthy also, automatically he withdraws the libidinal energy. That is, libidinal energy means actually sexual energy, instinctual energy. He has to withdraw the sexual energy or libidinal energy centered around the mother, that is incest, incestual wish it is. This incestual wish is prohibited by the society. So that is why he has to naturally withdraw the libidinal energy from the mother, and this libidinal energy has to be converted positively into a constructive channel. That means what he introduces two terms here. One is repression and the other one is sublimation. Repression means it's an unconscious process. It's not a suppression. Suppression means conscious process. Repression means it is purely unconscious. The boy automatically has to forget about this incestual wish. Instead of this wish, or in the place of this wish, he has to sublimate. Sublimate means convert this particular negative hatred centered around the father by way of identifying exclusively himself with the father as a role model. I hope you follow. So far, he has been showing the incestual, that is prohibited sexual wish, literally put again, or crudely put. Incestual wish means prohibited sexual wish centered around or shown towards the mother has to be converted positively, constructively into some other channel. This constructive channel is what he calls sublimation. The destructive channel has to be completely repressed. So this repression means that he has to forget about that. Although he aims at forgetting, or he wants to forget about, this particular process of repression goes deep into his unconscious. So unconscious he talks about now. So what is unconscious? I will come to that particular part later on. So anyway, this particular wish, this prohibited wish has to be repressed. Okay, repression takes place. Well, so soon after this repression, that is hatred so far shown towards the father will have to be converted positively by way of identifying himself, as I told you before, identification, that is why it is called identification, role model. He takes up the father as a role model. He should become as a father. That is why the child always is the future of man. So that is why the child always lives in us still. The child always awaits the opportune moment to come out through various channels. That is the significance of unconscious. Childhood memories. Child means childhood memories. Those memories are always fresh in our unconscious. Though those memories are out of sight, that doesn't mean they have become inactive. They are always active, remember. So well, that is repression and sublimation. That is hatred will have to be converted constructively by way of identifying himself with the father, that is a role model. That is father identification. That is, it's a natural action, and by way of this natural action or natural channel, gradually the personality will develop into a healthy one in future. If not, supposing the individual grows up into an adult, definitely in one way or other may be having various complexes exclusively centered around heterosexual relations. Supposing the child at this stage, that's a phallic stage, has not at all properly negotiated or properly resolved the particular conflict called Oedipus complex, that's why he calls it the Oedipus complex, then what happens or what will happen is he may be having fixation, unconscious, remember, unconscious fixation towards his mother.